My daughter, I'm a mom of 2 children that have autism, and a couple of years ago my daughter was invited to take part in a Dreamcoat fantasy production, and it was something, my daughter is nonverbal and can sometimes have some behavior issues, so it was something that I really at that time thought was way above her capability level. And I was delightfully surprised to find out that not only could she do it, but she loved it. And I sat in the audience with tears in my eyes and went home that night and was completely inspired to create something, because my background is in theater and it's something that I love so much, to create something out of what has happened to me in my life with the diagnosis of my children, and create something that could be a positive, changing program for all sorts of kids and teens with autism. So this is this 3rd production that we've done with Can-Do Theatre. 2 previous productions were with children, Christmas productions, and this is our very first production with teens. And we have a cast of 9 kids, and they actually wrote this show. I gave them a basis to start from, but everything that you hear and that you see on their bodies and the way the voice is coming out is completely inspired by their own creativity. And that was something that was really important to me for 2 reasons, and that is that this program has a dual purpose. We focus on the process, not on the product, which is very unlike most theater programs. Most theater programs are concerned with what the end result looks like. We're not concerned with what the end result looks like. We're concerned with the journey that these kids have had. And they all have all their own certain goals, and you'll probably pick those up pretty quickly when you see the show. So it functions as an opportunity for them to, step into the spotlight and actually have a role, and use it as a stepping stone to other theater programs where they can work on becoming more of a featured part in those productions. As well as we do a lot of social play, and we use it as a therapeutic tool for these kids, because we tackle the things that are challenging for them and really try to put it in practice as we're working on theater games and stuff. And I found that with the teens, it has surpassed my expectations. Basically, the entire show is from their own inspiration and their own choices. And that's really what I was looking to achieve, was to really bring out that sense of self-creativity in these kids. For a couple of reasons. One, it's a good experience for any teen, but also for these kids with diagnoses of autism spectrum disorders, we can really use it as a therapeutic tool. We can talk about social learning and the way different people handle different situations, and then they can apply it to their own life. So this program has a dual purpose. It has the purpose of putting them in the spotlight, where in a lot of recreational theater programs they can only really be in the background because they don't have the resources to support them properly. And then secondly, to use theater as a tool to really help them with the things that are challenging within their diagnosis.
Was this difficult, in comparison to other shows you've worked on?
Yeah, every theater project has its challenges, for sure. This one, the specific challenge in this program is that, for me, I really like it to be very sensitive to each of the kids' different personalities. And autism is a diagnosis that looks very, very different on every single person that it affects. So some of our kids have real sensory needs. Some of them have major learning disables, like have difficulty reading their scripts and things like that. So I really like to try and make it an individualized program. So meeting those needs, yes, is an incredible challenge.
What did you learn from this experience?
I learned something. This is the 3rd time that we've done this project. This is the first time that we've done it with the teens. I think the biggest thing that I learned from the teens was I expected them to judge themselves harshly, to be afraid of the idea of an audience, to be afraid that they weren't going to be, maybe like their typical peers in a theater production. and I was pleasantly surprised to see that that was actually never part of their journey. They felt completely accepted. They loved being creative. They loved finding these things out on their own. So that was probably my biggest lesson.
I hope they get fun and confidence. I hope the ability to learn lines, the ability to act them out, the ability to go in front of an audience, all the confidence that goes along with that, that's what I really hope that they take with them. And pride in a job well done.
How difficult was it to pull this program together and get the kids to invest in it?
You know what, it wasn't difficult at all. They were invested right from the very, very start. And they had Michelle, too, you know, to kind of get them going, and her wonderful staff. Honestly, we could not have asked for a better staff and for, you know, a better director.
Looking at the challenges of autism, how difficult is it to keep them invested in this program, or is it at all?
You know, it really hasn't been. Surprisingly, children with autism love to act. They get on stage and they love to act, and Michelle made it very, very interactive as well. They come up with the ideas, a lot of the writing was theirs, so they've been invested all the way along, and she designed it so that they would stay invested kind of all the way through. A lot of them developed their own costumes, you know, they're involved in the makeup, so they've done a lot.
It's hard for an actor to often stay focused on their lines, where to stand, what to do.
Yes.
How is this group behave with you know, taking direction like that?
There's been some challenges, but you know what, they're doing it and it's phenomenal, and Michelle's kind of done it so that there's scripts strategically placed, there's other actors, the staff are strategically placed, so if anybody forgets their lines, you know, somebody's there to feed it to them, they can read it to them, and she's kind of said all along, we've said this too all along, that it's not the final product that we're really interested in, it's the process and getting to the final product. Whatever the final product looks like, we're happy, we're thrilled, you know, we're glad.